and welcome back to In the Hot Seat with Emily Diala and Dr. Viviana Coles. I'm Emily, and this is Dr. Coles.
Hi there.
And we are excited you're joining us back today. So in this series, we're going to discuss infidelity in relationships, which is obviously a very emotional issue and something most couples hope that they'll manage to avoid. But it does happen sometimes. So we're going to divide this series on infidelity into 3 episodes. In today's episode, we're going to talk about what sets people up to possibly have an affair.
Yeah, what are the causes? What are the things that our clients come in with saying this happened or I did this, and how we can possibly kind of foresee these things and head them off before it happens, but also what happens throughout the series. We'll talk about what happens whenever you are dealing with this and you're reeling from it, and even long term, what you can do to cope with it.
Right. So I think it's important to note some statistics. Statistics, for reasons you can probably guess, on infidelity are a bit tricky to get, but it's estimated that anywhere between 20 to up to 60% of people will engage in an affair at some point during their relationship. So just know that the chances are,
you're not
on the higher
alone
side.
if you're going through this.
That's right.
It's not something that is nearly as rare as people would think it is. And you know what? There is another important statistic, and that's that 70% of couples who experience infidelity tend to end up staying together.
Yep.
How they do that and how well they do that, and how satisfied they are with their relationship if they decide to do that, we're not very sure of, but we're definitely going to give you our professional tips on how to handle life post-infidelity.
Right. I think a lot of people say, if that ever happened to me, no questions asked, I would leave my partner.
Deal breaker.
It's true. Most of the time, that is not what happens. And you really can't gauge how you'll handle that kind of situation until you find yourself in it.
And it's not always just because of the kids. Sometimes, and most of the time, there aren't any other factors other than they have decided that they want to move past this together.
Definitely.
So some of the causes that I hear, especially from my male clients, they often feel like they don't feel wanted. They don't feel desired, not just sexually, but just in general in their relationship. They don't feel as if they are a vital piece of the puzzle when it comes to their partner's feelings and their partner's lives. That sounds really vague, but typically that ends up looking a lot like maybe a husband who feels like they come home and don't feel received, they don't feel warm welcome, they feel like they're just another cog in the wheel here. And that is a feeling more so than something that I can really explain. But it's a very real feeling, and it can be very dire for the relationship.
I think so. It's not uncommon, especially if you have little kids you're managing or you're both working, that you sort of just, go through the day and you don't really engage.
And so many things need your attention.
Exactly. And so people I think they start living very mindless marriages. They're just not as present and engaged, and maybe don't make their marriage a priority over everything else that's going on in their life. And when that happens, people miss the energy that they had at the beginning of the relationship.
That really ends up being the glue for the fabric of the relationship. And I think that when I've heard from women who have decided to step out on their relationships or do anything inappropriate as far as the boundaries of their relationship, which we should talk about in a second, for women, it's mainly that they needed the attention. They like that feeling of
someone's paying attention to me.
Someone's paying attention to me. There's spontaneity. It kind of seems to bring out a liveliness, and it kind of brings out a fun part of them that they aren't getting at home.
I think, though, it's important to note that it's a little bit rarer that people actually make a decision to have an affair or actively seek it out.
Right.
The truth is, most affairs happen because the opportunity presents itself, and I think that's part of
convenient.
Yeah, exactly. And then it may be, of course, in hindsight that they reflect back, okay, why did I take advantage of the opportunity? And it may be for some of these reasons that we've discussed. But really, it's about opportunity for a lot of people, and I think historically, the reason why more men were having affairs was because they were the ones who were working outside the home and had more opportunities, whereas women were at home with the children.
And now
which is changing.
With dating online and with people being able to chat online, or just women being inside and outside of the house way more often, absolutely, the numbers are starting. That discrepancy is starting to close. Not a great thing, but it's definitely like what Emily was saying. It's definitely opportunistic. As far as why people find themselves in that situation, alcohol's a big one.
Oh yeah.
It's a really big one.
It's a social buffer.
It is a social buffer.
Yeah.
And I think that for my clients who tend to get a little bit friendlier when they're drinking, that's something that they need to keep their eye on.
Keep tabs on, for sure.
For sure.
And I think an important preventative measure, if maybe you're spending time with work colleagues, or if you have friends of the opposite sex, you want to ask yourself, is this person, would they be a friend of the relationship, or are they just my friend? You want to consider, how open they are to, meeting your partner, or how they would feel if you were all three together. And if there's any hesitancy there, then that's a clue that maybe this person is someone who you should set boundaries on your time with.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, you have people who think nowadays, it's like, I want to be able to have friends of the opposite sex. What's wrong with that?
Right.
I find that couples who have really strict boundaries for themselves and for their partners as well about who they have friendships with, that they're coming into the relationship with, whether it's relatives or best friends growing up, that those people are kind of in the safe zone. But new ones, they have to be discussed. Yep. And you want to constantly be asking yourself, again, are they friends of the relationship? But also, what am I sharing with this person? What kind of friendship am I looking for and seeking? And is it something that I'm not engaging in with my partner?
And that's, I think, where people start to cross the boundary. Is a lot of these start off as more like this person is an emotional confidant. Maybe they're talking about their partner, complaining about their spouse in a way that, wouldn't be appropriate, obviously, if their partner were there.
Right. And they're also sharing things about maybe commonalities at work. Maybe this person is a really close colleague that knows exactly what your frustrations are and who they're with, and you share that special bond. But if it's not staying at work, you're at risk.
Right.
So I think one of the other things that we should bring up is, when it comes to opportunity, if you find yourself actively looking for opportunities to spend time with someone else outside of the relationship, ask yourself why, because sometimes it's just fun and you enjoy them. But if you find yourself wanting that more and more because it's allowing you to be more yourself, take a break.
Yes.
Pause and talk to your partner about it.
And ask, how can I be myself in my relationship? I think that, if we're looking at another reason why people cheat sometimes, it's because they want something that's just their own. They want to feel alive again. They want to feel like, they have something that is separate from their marriage. And you really want to ask yourself, why do I feel lost in my relationship? Figure out ways to maintain your identity in your relationship. It's definitely doable.
One of the things that I bring up with my clients, especially male clients, but not always, is this idea that I can tell that they're wanting to feel needed by someone, and they want to save. They want to save these people that they're with. Like, maybe they just got out of a bad relationship, and you want to show them, hey, we're not all bad guys. I can feel the nodding on the other end of this, because we've all been there. We like to be helpful, but there is a line that gets crossed with a lot of men where they think, I want to be that person that shows you that you are a sexy woman, that you are smart, that you don't deserve to be abused.
Sure.
All of these things. It feels really good. It makes you feel like a good person. But very quickly, you're bonding with this person in an inappropriate way.
Definitely.
So we'd love to invite you to comment on this topic, for sure. Hashtag hot seat. You can do it on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, because this is a hot topic. And whether you've been through it or are hoping never to be through it, or you've been through it and are 10 years down the road, we want to hear your comments about how you've handled it and what advice you would give to new relationships.
Absolutely. Let us know.
Thank you.